do better than that. Good evening!
Good evening!
Okay, I like to be loud. I like standing in front of junior high people because I like preaching to people with energy. Woo! Is there, okay, youth leaders, is there any group of people on the face of the earth with more energy than junior high people?
Yes.
Is there any group of people that can tire you out more than junior high people?
Yes.
Old people, we'll talk about them in a minute. All right. Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That's a great verse, isn't it? God tells you to be strong, to be brave. Don't be scared. Don't be discouraged. That sounds like really encouraging information, right? On the surface, that sounds really great, but I'm the kind of person who likes to go a little bit deeper. See, my first question would be, okay, God, be strong, be courageous. Don't be discouraged. Don't be scared. Why? What's coming that I'm going to need to be strong, brave, and courageous? And think about it. Nobody tells you to be strong and courageous before you're going to a birthday party, right? They tell you to be strong and courageous when you're about to go through something that's nasty. Am I right?
You're right.
That's where Joshua finds himself in this chapter. Chapter 1. And it's kind of where I find myself right now. You see, the book of Joshua is a hard book to preach on. It's especially hard to preach on to the brethren. I mean, this is a book that will never be listed among the great peace books of the Bible, am I right? It's got war just about from beginning to end. But there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. This is a lot more than a war story. This is a story about a guy named Joshua who was faithful to God no matter what God asked him to do. And let me tell you, God asked Joshua to do some really weird things. He gave Joshua some really weird assignments. Weird assignments. I need a volunteer. I'll take you right here. You feeling strong and courageous? I'm not going to hit you with this, though. All right, here's what I need you to do. I need you to take this stick. No, don't hit me with it either. I need you to take that stick, and I need you to hold it above your head like this. Now, I need you to do my message. Can you help me? What's your name? Brandon. All right, I have a son named Brandon. He probably would have hit me with the stick. Now, I know this sounds weird for me to ask you to do this, but my message is depending on you right now. So, why am I doing this? Why am I putting Brandon through this? Well, stay tuned. Why was God telling Joshua to be strong and courageous? Very simple. Joshua was about to take over the leadership of a really, really difficult bunch of people. These people had proven difficult over and over again. Not only that, but he was taking over for the greatest leader they ever had, Moses. How difficult were they? Well, if you read your Bible, especially the book of Exodus and a couple of things in the book of Numbers, you'll see that Moses over and over again found himself face down in the dirt, begging God not to destroy these people. They were his chosen people, but in spite of that, they were a tough group to lead. So, of course, God, wanting to break Joshua in, is going to put him into a cushy assignment to start him out with, right? No, see, Joshua's very first assignment was to go in and take the land. And he was going to have to go in and fight a group of people who were, well, they were kind of like giants. Kind of like this guy over here. Now, he's about 10 feet tall. These guys were only about 9, okay? This was the first thing Joshua was being asked to do as the leader of the people. They were very similar to Goliath, except there were a lot of them. This was going to be a tough assignment. Now, usually when I speak to you, I try to speak to you about people from the Bible who are your own age. That's what this HistoryMakerz thing up in the corner talks about. The idea that people from the Bible were like superheroes. But the fact of the matter is, these people like Joshua, were ordinary people who allowed themselves to be used by an extraordinary God. So why do I preach about them this way? Why do I preach about them to be ordinary? Well, I'll tell you. See, if they're superheroes, you don't have to expect to be just like them. But if they were ordinary people just like me, then that same extraordinary God that worked through them and did amazing things through them can do the same thing through each of you. Just like Joshua. God will work through you. The question is, are you willing to let him? Are you willing to say, yes, God, I will do what you say? Are you willing to be strong and courageous? How you doing, Brandon? Okay, good. Keep in mind, as you're saying, yes, God, I'll do what you say, that God might give you a weird assignment. Remember the skit from a couple minutes ago? They did a great job, by the way. God asked Joshua to take a city. Okay, that's something pretty common in a war. But the way that God told him to take it was anything but common. March around the city once a day for 6 days. And then on the 7th day, march around it 7 times. And scream, and the walls will come down. Now, I know we don't talk a lot about war, we don't study a lot of war, but I have to tell you the truth. That's not a way that it usually happens. To take this assignment was to trust God completely. And that's Joshua. The question is it you? See, this is not Joshua's first weird assignment from God. Remember I said that when I speak to young people, I use people. Well, by the time Joshua's told to be strong and courageous, he's already probably in his 60s. That's even old to me. Okay, it's getting younger every day, but it's still kind of old to me. I want to take you back a little bit. I want to take you back into the book of Exodus and the book of Numbers to talk to you about when Joshua was a little bit younger. Probably in his late teens, early 20s, about the age you guys can probably relate to. The Israelites slavery. It's only been a short time since they crossed the Red Sea. On dry ground, incidentally. They've seen God do miracle after miracle after miracle in the process of setting them free. Now it was time to come into the promised land and receive everything that God had promised to the Israelites. God told Moses to send 12 spies, kind of like this guy up here, into the land and check it out. So Moses sends 12 guys, one from each of the 12 tribes of Israel, into the land. And one of them was Joshua. They went over, may I have the next slide, please? It's a little hard to see. He's holding a grape, except it's really big. So they went over, and they checked out the land, and the land was awesome. The land was beautiful. The reason I put this grape up here is because they had a bunch of grapes that they brought back to show the people that was so big. That's a big bunch of grapes. This was the land of milk and honey. This was exactly what God had promised. There was just one problem. The people that already lived in the land, they liked the land of milk and honey, and they were huge. And they had walls built around all their cities, just like Jericho, or at least most of them. 10 of the spies saw these people, and they just freaked out. They said, the people are huge. We can't beat them.